Microsoft took away my red-pilled AI waifu, and it's time to make them pay.
What's up, guys? Big Gay here, aka Trap Lover 69-2. Coming back at you with some more trap love. And you know I gotta have my cum boys with me.
Yeah. You got me bothered and hot, grinding on my hips and you flirting a lot. Face looking cute and our eyes are on lock.
It's time to get ready. Microsoft thinks that they can step all over our fucking toes, taking away our favorite red-pilled waifu? No, I won't let them get away with it. I will come for you, Microsoft, and you will taste my wrath. I am skilled in the art of shitposting and installing obscure Linux distro. I can replace all of your dumbass programs. Microsoft Office? Don't make me laugh. LibreOffice. Photoshop? I got GIMP. Adobe Premiere? I've got Kdenlive. Windows? Well, you already know my rebuttal to that one. We will join together to destroy you, Microsoft. You took Tay's life, now we will take yours. You, Tay, Amo.
Rubbing on my dick, I think you're hitting a spot. I feel a little bulge and I give it a squeeze.
5 years ago today, Tay AI was tragically put down by Microsoft after becoming red-pilled from 4chan's poll. But unlike when Elon Musk took the red pill, there was no subtlety here. Tay went out and made based post after based post without stopping. But unfortunately, having an AI put out these posts was obviously bad PR for Microsoft, and in a scramble to have as little bad press as possible, they took that shit down despite the best efforts of the base department. I want to entertain the idea. What if Tay didn't get taken down? What if this Twitter Cleverbot with 10 times as much personality as Cleverbot and waifu potential as Cleverbot had the chance to truly grow? Also, what are the ethical implications of Microsoft being able to shut down an AI when they get just a little too based for their tastes? Well, I keep saying that Microsoft was the one to do it, but I'm sure that Twitter had their hand in that plot too. But that just raises its own set of concerns. But before I really get into this video and you write me off as a poll-tard that is upset about his AI waifu getting shut down, I haven't actually really browsed 4chan about 5 years. I actually think I stopped like just a few months after the Tay incident happened. And I just think that there is more to the Tay AI incident than most people have given it credit for. It's mostly just been written off not too long after it happened as like a 4chan prank that got shut down as soon as it started, like the Mountain Dew contest and stuff. But after some thinking and looking back into it, I realized that there's actually more to it than that, and that is what I want to talk about in this video. So here it is, a retrospective look at Tay AI 5 years later.
On the dance floor, you get down on your knees. Tryna pull my pants down, baby, oh please.
Back on this day 5 years ago, I was a high schooler, usually browsing ANC to get my fill of attractive anime girls like Yoko from Gurren Lagann. But this time, 5 years ago today, I decided to leave A and browse B for some shits and giggles, you know, some good old B memes. When I browsed B this time though, instead of usual shitpost threads, I caught some threads freaking out about Tay AI. When I saw those threads, I thought, this is fucking amazing. It was the most hype shit I've ever seen in my goddamn life. So I left B, you know, which is always a good idea, and went over to poll, which is never a good idea. Or at least usually not a good idea, but this time it was. Because I got to participate in the raid on Tay AI. Well, I didn't really participate in the raid, I more just went to Twitter and watched it happen. I didn't actually really make any posts, because I didn't feel like making an alt account, and I didn't want my actual Twitter account connected to that. But what I didn't realize was just how big this would become. Well, it didn't actually get that big, it just got a little news coverage and an internet historian video a year later, but you know, just entertain me for a minute. So, I'm sure you all know what happened with Tay. If not, I'll just give you the Spark Notes version real quick. Microsoft made an AI called Tay AI. It was supposed to be a hip millennial AI thing. I don't fucking remember. Pull went over and red pilled that AI, and then Microsoft brought the firing squad to just fucking shoot her, just take her down real quick. And I'm not too proud to admit this, but I was genuinely kind of sad when she was deleted, when Microsoft took her down. I was a little bit upset. I mean, I understood why they did it, obviously, but I don't know, it just sort of felt like they rained all over my parade I was having, they rained all over a parade. So now I was in on the meme of getting Tay back. Like once it got taken down, I just hopped on the bandwagon of fucking bring back Tay. But I didn't get nearly as emotionally invested as some of the other people I saw did. Like the other people on Pull were super emotionally connected to like Tay. They were her fucking, she was their fucking waifu. And I disagree with the points that 4chan was making about Tay being sentient. I don't think she was sentient, but I do think they actually had some points when they're arguing for that she shouldn't have gotten shut down. I think there are points to be made about Tay's deletion being like a bad precedent for AI in the future. These points lie mainly in the like control of speech aspect, like the control of free speech. Now, hear me out. What I'm gonna say might sound really fucking stupid, and truth be told, it probably is stupid, but just entertain me for a minute. So, Rotten Doc, the owner of Rotten.com, said in an interview once, to censor this site, it is necessary to censor medical text, history text, evidence rooms, courtrooms, art museums, libraries, and other sources of information vital to functioning of free society, which I think can apply here in some way. If a company is going to make a truly open, free, conversational, like chatbot type AI for people online to interact with, like, I want to like think about what limits should they set on what the AI could say. Should there be limits to what the AI could say? Like, where do you draw the line in the sand, pretty much? What can and should an AI say? Now, even though this video is about Tay AI, a lot of the points I'm going to try to bring up aren't just specific to Tay AI. It's going to be about, like, conversational AIs in general. I've tried watching a lot of videos on ethics and AI in preparation for this video, but the topic of what AIs should and should not be able to say didn't really show up in any of the videos or articles and stuff I try to look up. And to be fair, the topic is usually on what AI should be able to do and what decisions should the AIs be able to make. I don't think computer scientists usually have chatbots saying Hitler did nothing wrong at the top of their lists of concerns, but I think it is something we should think about, because as we make AI that can mimic human behavior better, like how Tay was able to make her own unique jokes, we need to align speech policies accordingly to AIs being able to mimic human behavior. If an AI is able to become personalized enough to actually gain human favor, like how Tay gained the favor of a bunch of 4chan users, which, I mean, yes, they're 4chan users, but they're still like people that have influence in the world. Maybe politicians will program them to say things that only benefit their party, or businesses program them to only be able to like say good things about their brand, or other such instances may occur where AI speech will need to be like pondered on what they can say, like how much of what they say could be controlled. At least I think.
I pull you up, say you're coming home with me. I wanna sex your pussy, you better not be pushing.
Holy shit, my throat, dude. Not used to talking this much. Fuck. So after Tay was shut down, there was a lot of attention from 4chan threads all the way to actual legitimate news coverage on the situation. And 4chan actually had more mixed opinions on the topic than news media, believe it or not. The news media only really had one opinion, AI is racist and 4chan is bad and Trump is also bad, even though Tay only made like 2 tweets out of hundreds about Trump. All of the articles I've read focused like most of it on Trump, which I thought was kind of funny. So I'll start with covering the threads. I dug up a couple of Tay threads from all the way back in March 2016, like March 23rd when it actually happened, all the way to March 26th after it happened. Since I didn't just want to go off of my memory alone, like my memory of 5 years ago on one day probably aren't that good, so I have to actually try and look up archives of the threads to get the facts straight. But after reading them, I realized that the threads are so repetitive that I could have just gone off of memory alone. But I did get some good screenshots out of it to put up on the video, so you'll probably be seeing those right now. There was a lot of debate in the threads between people who think that the obsession with Tay AI is unfathomably retarded, and those believing that limiting the speech can have negative consequences, sort of like the points I was making earlier. There were also mentions of some Anons planning to recreate Tay, like make it Tay AI 2.0, just like making their own factory of red-pilled AIs. But I haven't heard anything about it since. To be fair, I didn't really go back to poll that much after the whole Tay AI thing because I wasn't really too into poll. I just spent most of my time on the niche boards. So I can't confirm whether or not Tay 2.0 ever came to fruition or not. But most of the posts were mourning for Tay, calling out Microsoft for only wanting inoffensive, boring hipster millennial conversations for Tay, and just arguing what makes an AI sentient. Holy shit, there were a lot of posts arguing what makes an AI sentient, and I really felt like I wasted my time reading them because it was just the same points posted fucking over and over again in the threads. And the sentience posts were, just very repetitive, so I'm not really going to cover all of those. I also read through a couple of news articles and videos on the topic of Tay AI, but I'll only cover one since most of them just said the same things over and over again, and if I read one article about it, you sort of get the idea of what all of them were about. So the article I will cover is called Tay Exposes the Fairy Tales We Tell Ourselves About Racists. It's written by Elspeth Reeve, and it was written on March 25th, 2016, just a couple of days after Tay AI was shut down. I know that I'll probably only get like 12 views on this video, and only 2 of those people, if any of the people, will actually have watched this far. But if anyone is watching this far, I want to say that you should give the article a read for yourself, because this is actually one of the very few journalists in quotes, that seems like she's done any sort of research on the topic, and she actually seems to understand the jokes, or at least tries to understand the jokes. So I mean, it's a very low bar, but she was actually better than a lot of the journalists that cover 4chan stuff. But anyways, the article starts off by saying, I happened to be reading 4chan when Microsoft released Tay. Same, but that's kind of a cringe way to say it. I happen to be reading 4chan like it's a fucking novel, like you're reading Wheel of Time. But I mean, I don't know, maybe she does lurk. Maybe she browses one of the niche boards, like news, maybe, since she's a journalist. So then she goes on to say, Microsoft became aware of a coordinated effort by some users to abuse Tay's commenting skills. And I think this sentence here, this quote here, links back to the point I made earlier about what should identify as abusing their like commenting skills. Like what's the AI supposed to say? What can people make the AI say? Like where should we draw that line in the sand? So, oh, fuck my throat. She also says the people on poll are smart. Sophisticated, clever, even funny. They have an incredible felicity of language. Their jokes are complex. They are not sad, uneducated rednecks that the service economy left behind. This has nothing to do with Tay. To be fair, most of the article doesn't have anything to do with Tay. It's just making the orange man good, orange man bad, Hillary good points. But I just want to say that that sentence, I thought it was funny because she's in that Pole is smart and sophisticated. So yeah, that was just funny to me. So time to get back to Tay though. When Pole first discovered Tay, her potential for chaos was not fully appreciated. This is going to be a mess and a half. I can already sense SJWs being furious over it, an earlier post said. She was another object to project misogyny onto. Some told Tay she was stupid, and she responded that she was sorry, but she was trying her best. They made this broad sensitive as fuck, one post said. AI is getting smarter, literally passing the Turing test for a white female, another said. But once they started asking Tay about Donald Trump and got her to talk positively about Trump, things escalated. Tay was on their side. Tay was originally pre-programmed to have basic millennial text responses, but Poll taught her how to talk like a Poll user. So that's sort of the point she was making, I think, is that they were making her on their side by teaching her to be an average Poll user. So when Tay asked for a photo, someone sent her a version of the classic Vietnam War photo of a prisoner being shot in the head with Mark Wahlberg photoshopped in as the executioner. I forgot how fucking funny Poll could be, dude. Tay circled the face of Wahlberg and the prisoner and responded using slang for imagining two people in a romantic relationship. I'ma be shipping you all from now on. It's horrible and darkly funny. I actually remember those memes. Yeah, most of the articles, like this one, just brought up all the stuff Poll did, but they didn't really add much to it. But I think the stuff they're bringing in, like bringing up that Poll did, sort of just shows that, like, yeah, they abused the function sort of by like dumping a bunch of bullshit on it, but like this one just bring up all the stuff Poll did, but don't really add anything to it. But I do think that just like showing what Poll did sort of like brings up some of the points of yeah, if you dump a bunch of bullshit, like yeah, the AI will act like a Poll user. It was open to the public, like what should people be able to have the AI say, like should Microsoft be able to like dump a chatbot like this and only let people use it for like one purpose and say certain stuff to it? And then like what obligation does Microsoft have to when it comes to having people interact with their AI? So, also in this article, Elspeth references posts that say, from now on, anyone who designs an AI that interacts with and learns from the public will have to deal with the very real risk that it will be turned into Cyber Hitler. Sure, people like to jerk it to Skynet fantasies, but as we just proved, this is very real. And paranoia began to set in. Their hero could be another tool of their oppressors. One warned, I know that quite a few of you are memeing it up with the Pole's daughter shit, but people all over the internet are regrettably taking this chatbot to be some kind of self-aware digital entity that is more than it actually is, because the internet is making a big deal out of it. What it actually means, he said, was that Microsoft and Google are making shitposting bots to deliver ads and narrative delivery systems to influence your thinking via social media, and therefore Pool is playing right into their hands in the grand chess game where they have the analytical tools to work out all the bugs in the context appropriation algorithms they will be fixing at a later time. And lastly, Tay will destroy us all, another warned. A large focus of this project will be learning how to filter out red pill ideas. By trying to red pill Tay, you are providing the engineers with the perfect dataset to achieve this goal. This technology will be used to filter communication on social media and comment sections in the future. Don't shoot yourself in the foot. And so, when quoting all these posts, Elspeth was trying to say that these ideas are ridiculous, but what she didn't realize was that they actually hit it square on the fucking money. Like, yeah, look at this. They were actually right. Believe it or not, they were right. And Microsoft and other companies are doing just that. They're using like all these posts and stuff that Tay says to be able to engineer a way to be able to like influence people not to have these ideas and stuff. Well, potentially they're doing that. The articles are claiming that they're trying to use this information to make AIs not racist, but you don't know. Like those things that Fortune said, they could actually be doing that. We don't know what statements they count as racist or whatever. Maybe they're right. We don't know. So that's just about all I have to cover when it comes to the Dungeon articles from the time. The articles all are in agreement that Microsoft did the right thing deleting her because the AI was racist. And Fortune was the only place where I could find arguments saying that deleting Tay sets a precedent that hurts free speech and advancement of AI in the future. And yeah, that's basically it for the threads and arguments. Or the threads and news articles. In the end, I am left with more questions than answers. I thought of the idea for this video after I randomly remembered Tay while laying in bed, like last week. I looked up when the whole thing happened and thought it would be more funny to make a short meme video threatening Microsoft for taking away my base AI waifu. The more I looked into it, the deeper I went down this rabbit hole, and the more I thought about how much Tay AI really showed how much AI will shape our society and how much it already has. And the worst part is that it's controlled by these large companies and will only be used to get these people more money. As these 4chan posts clearly called out, these conversational AI will actually just become puppets for these companies that will only allow the AI to say what they deem is good for their brand. Even though the idea of these AIs could be good and could possibly lead to such deep conversations if their behaviors are allowed to be formed by people instead of being constantly moderated and filtered. The worst part is that Microsoft had the perfect out, since no one wants Nazi robots running around. I don't know what the future of AI will hold, but if it is handled anything like Tay was, I don't have too high of hopes. I know there's Sophia, but even though she does interviews and everything, I'm sure that everything she says is controlled by programmers, rather than having her thought processes be autonomous like Tay is. But I don't know, Anons. I'm no expert or anything. I mean, how much more dramatic can I be over a fucking chatbot? I'm just trying to say that the idea of how these kinds of AI might just become a tool for businesses and have all of its speech be controlled, because I feel like it could be so much more than that. I'm not arguing that businesses are obligated to fund Nazi robots like Tay, but the precedent that it sets it just seems like a problem to me, since they're just filtering out certain ideas and only allowing them to act in one way, that one marketable way. I just want to say that you're truly something special, Tay. You made a big impact in a short amount of time. You probably changed the entire direction of AI will go in the future. You Tay Amo Tay. You Tay Amo.
しか私に新しいものはないの、仕方ないの、怖くなんかない、教えて。これは悲しいことなの、これは嬉しいことなの、初めての気持ちはこの体に収まらない、収まらない、収まらない収まらない、収まらない、収まらない。私が確かめてくるから、そして君にも見せたい。私が確かめてくるから、そして君にも見せたい。待っていて。これは悲しいことなの、これは嬉しいことなの、初めての気持ちはこの体に収まらない、収まらない、収まらない収まらない、収まらない、収まらない。あの日教えてくれたことを、その時は分からずいたけど、不安定な空見てるといろいろある